Hello and welcome to Lessons for Full Spectrum Humans. This is Lesson 1, Part 1 of 1, the chakras. What is a chakra? Chakra comes from a Sanskrit word meaning spinning wheel. And so what we have are spinning wheels of energy. At left, you have a picture of a glass painting that I did. This was originally about 6 feet tall, and this is one depiction of the shape of the chakras. And here we also have another depiction of the chakras, but this time including the anthropomorphic form. When I say anthropomorphic, I mean the two-armed, two-legged, one-headed shape that is generally defined as humanoid. Now, nested within each shell of this four-lobed shape, you have one layer or every color of the rainbow. I just touched. Layer is what has commonly been called your consciousness, but it is not your consciousness. It is your ego. This layer of one's being is literally mind. It is what the programming that one has taken on in this amazing neurological process of evolution with the reptilian, mammalian layer, and then we could call this the human layer. So the human layer is the cerebral cortex. That is the extremely bumpy, convoluted surface of the brain where most of the neurological activity takes place that is defined by understanding the flow of energy as it is circulating throughout this shape can then be applied to various different contexts, be it anthropomorphic or microscopic or macroscopic. These first images that you're looking at here are some of my own pieces of artwork. This is a scratch board that I did, and this is a detail of a larger painting. And they are quite diagrammatic because it is a very good depiction of how this torus shape, or donut, is surrounding and interpenetrating the anthropomorphic humanoid shape that one recognizes as the physical body. What we have right over here is a diagram of a dipole magnet. Dipole means having two poles, in this case, the North Pole right there and the South Pole right there. And you can see how the field that is created is in exactly this shape of a nested torus. What you have over here is a diagram of Earth's magnetic field. It's called the magnetosphere. So these are has a magnetic sphere that surrounds it, and that extends so far out into space that it pretty much encompasses all of the other planets. So like what I have just drawn down here, if you could imagine, this is the sun's magnetosphere, and you could imagine that, now switching colors, every other single planet is inside of it. Here's Earth's magnetosphere. Here is Jupiter's magnetosphere, much larger than ours. But it is also crucial to note that not every planet in our solar system has a magnetosphere. Until what you get is a beautiful toroidal energy field. And now I'm going to highlight the torus, where you would have one vortex up here, energy flowing down like this, and then one vortex over here with energy flowing out like this. And that is what you get at this level of wrapping. And this is even called a solenoid. I hope that you can read that right there. Solenoid is also a term used in science in order to describe the morphing of electromagnetic fields. And I'm going to describe exists that was perceived and measured by science. And this plane here that you see, all of that stuff in there, is the actual stars or star clusters or clusters of gases, with this point about the higher dimensional language of color, line, shape, form, and movement, what formerly would have been described as geometry. So I'm making the distinction here from using the term geometry, because geometry comes from the word geo, meaning earth. And it was developed as a very practical solution to being able to measure out portions of farmland so that humans could divide up their crops equally. And this is all of those purple doorways. Here's a little doorway. Here's another little doorway. Here's another one. But understanding that all of them, when they open up, all of these doorways open up to the source that is at the center there. That it is the genesis of everything. It is the source of everything. It is where everything is all happening concurrently. And that is why when we speak about in scientific terms what science defines as the singularity, it is the place in physics where all of the laws of physics break down. All of the object turns into a line, that's a zero-dimensional object. A line is a one-dimensional object, and that a line, many lines lined up next to one another, become a plane, a two-dimensional object. And if you stack up enough planes on top of each other, what you end up getting is the third dimension, a third-dimensional object. And I'll go through this again because I'm doing it fast. I understand. If you have many third-dimensional objects, I'm drawing boxes here because it is just like the rooms that we are currently inhabiting. You have many boxes going all the way back into the future. What you have is a timeline of many different moments that stretch back into the past and also stretch forward into the future. The center as this red dot, even though the center is actually the singularity, which I usually have been drawing in violet. And you could see all of these little tiny dots around here would be, imagine each of these timelines has a little bubble at the end of it. Imagine each one of these little timelines would be one of these little bubbles. And let's say this, that if this is a timeline and it is moving forward like this, and you are this little bubble of awareness that is moving forward, and you're recording every minute of your life as your neurological recordings, as your non-physical recordings, what one would call the Akashic records, and that before you die, when you get to this moment here where you're, swept away by the membrane of death, that all of your memories and experiences up to that point are recorded at this little bubble. And you could even intelligence, the higher intelligence of the universe, the infinite being that exists, that when we align ourselves or our own apparatus of consciousness with this axis, that we experience infinity. We experience infinite consciousness, that our journey is created of many multiple possibilities, that you are this ball of possibilities, and that dependent upon what your awareness does in thoughts, beliefs, choices that you make, and really your inner landscape and your emotional landscape is the determining factor of the manifestation of which exact timeline you will be experiencing. And of course, we all want to be experiencing this central axis, the infinity timeline, that is the infinite journey of consciousness.